Southbound on the coast, Starlight. From Amtrak's coast Starlight at dawn, ricocheting south out of Sacramento, you see Jack Rabbit, with all the speed and wisdom Coyote gave him, run from the railbed. Pheasants rise. Egrets probe marshy mud. Cornfields, rusting abandoned cars in a desperate landscape. The telltale litter of homeless bundles in a small stand of trees. Those who have slept more places outdoors than even George Washington ever dreamed. Abandoned fields run back to wild barley, the crumbling foundations of buildings long gone. So many towns not even whistle stops anymore. Places that America by 1920 had decided were too restrictive, although to the present day idle lip service continues to be paid to small town ways. Community, church, family, propriety, sobriety, we just didn't want all our neighbors to know us so well. Not so completely that they could hold us to their rigid standards, define us for all time. Who we are, who we could become. Places too small for big ambitions. Narrow contexts that deny your delusions. Squash your highest aspirations. Slow train clatters, rattles, runs 40 minutes behind schedule through industrial parks with lumber yards, hulking bulk propane tanks, new and used auto parts suppliers. Everything out here, on down the line, stacked on rusting racks in deserted yards, just past unruly trailer parks and many storage warehouses for people who have too much old stuff, not enough time or place for it, yet can't let go. You cross rivers with pilings but no piers, bypass refineries with sidings where long lines of black tank cars queue up to be filled with or emptied of unodorized liquefied petroleum gas for petrochemical use. On this train behind locked doors, still inexplicably as late as 1994, passengers pee on the tracks between the towns. Emeryville and Oakland, someone sounding ominously official announces via loudspeaker, are service stops for this creaking train. So of course, while you stop at them, there will be no service at the onboard snack bars. The railroad whistle wails. The click-clack beneath becomes staccato again as you race past cement factories, garden supply depots, decorative building material depots, used tire graveyards, tract homes in a blur jammed too close together. Running through neighborhoods so poor their backyards are trailered and dotted with makeshift shacks tacked together in unpainted wood that seems to have been pried from disused barns. 10 cars parked in the weeds, including one with a less than grand whitewashed sign in an uneven hand, reserved for boss. Orchards, gladiola farms, junkyards, more junkyards, obsolescence after all, still the main byproduct of industrial capitalism. Greenhouses not just for atmospheric effect, vacant factories and warehouses left over from the days when Americans actually manufactured objects that existed beyond cyberspace. A few still thriving factories even, all under brown hills dotted with gnarled oak green, all under the same relentless summer sun. As the train sounds a warning to farm workers stooping in the fields it rushes past, some look up, follow the southbound flyer with pinched eyes that seem to know this one will never go far enough, will never carry them home, even while their hands move unhesitatingly in work. But the horses never turn to look any more. By now have learned that the sound down the tracks has nothing to do with fodder. Stacked with pipe, whole yards echo as the train sighs on, wallowing through clanging Claxton crossings, dives down past decaying canneries, chili pepper farms, drainage ditches into which shopping carts have been crashed to their final rest by boys who laughed as they ran away. Men with hoes unheroically weed lettuce rows. Swallows' nests line up under freeway bridges, avian condominiums. The train man talks about the importance of saving these wetlands as men in masks and yellow rubber suits march 6 abreast in rubber boots into the marshes, carry hoses from a tanker truck to spray pesticidal poisons on strawberries growing under gray skies on hills above coastal water, also gray. In the Salinas Valley, the train bypasses artichoke fields periodically punctuated by white tires that mark irrigation sprinkler heads. New grapevines are racked row upon row for miles. In a driveway, a woman in black riding pants wields a garden hose to wash a patient chestnut horse. The sound of footrests ratcheting up is heard in your car. The no sound of people wearing headphones tapping their feet, not talking to one another. The space near the railroad tracks, a ribbon of storage, the nation's outdoor attic stacked high with unused and unusable inventory, cast-offs. Then miles and miles of burned-out brush like a fresh dark scar across the hills. Miles of charcoaled tree trunks. One house, too, burned to its foundation line. When the train comes down to the beach at Vandenberg, a cloud bank crowns the hills where the missile silos lie buried even now. The Titan gantries, an unused space shuttle launch facility designed and built so poorly that any spacecraft counted down there would have been counted out upon ignition, consumed by the hellfire of its own exhaust. And behind all the vaunted folly, the receding sun, touching it all with incredible gold. Here and there, stupid cattle sit in hot herds, grounded by the brutal midday glare. On a mountain facing the sea, Coyote's face seems burned. Mouth open, appears to laugh. You pass more crumbling barns, disused corrals. This train the only longhorn passing. Monterey pines, with their own abstractedly oriental way of ordering their dizzy reality, bows like deft horizontal brushstrokes meant to preserve the wah. Long before you pull into Los Angeles, you scan the shoreline for surfers who usually moon the express. Suddenly, at the horizon, gray boxes loom on stilts. Offshore oil rigs. Look, a boy nearby proclaims, pointing to them, comically contorts his lips wildly in a parody of English badly dubbed over animated Japanese mouths. Godzilla!